The hidden climate cost of cement, steel, and plastic. How to avoid a climate disaster, Part 3. Imagine you are standing in a big city. In front are tall buildings, traffic is moving on a far-off flyover, people are rushing under the metro line, a crane is rotating at some construction site, and machines are continuously making goods in some factory. All of this looks like a picture of modern progress. But inside this very progress is hidden a climate story that we often fail to see at all. In the first part, we understood that the world has to take the greenhouse gases released every year from 51 billion to zero. In the second part, we saw that making electricity clean is the biggest plug point of the climate fight. But the fear increases right from here, because the world does not run on electricity alone. The world is also made of cement, steel, and plastic. And the curiosity is, are the very things with which we have made cities, bridges, houses, cars, and machines bringing the climate disaster even closer? In Bill Gates' book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, a big question comes after electricity: how do we make things? Because the fight against climate change is not limited to power plants only. The houses we build, the roads we make, the bridges we construct, the cars we drive, the phones we hold, the packaging we use, and the products that are made in factories, behind all of these is a long chain of materials. According to Bill Gates' breakdown, the sector that makes things like cement, steel, and plastic accounts for around 31% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Meaning, if we only clean up electricity but ignore manufacturing, the dream of zero emissions will remain incomplete. This exact thing is the real story of this part. Last time, we came to know that clean electricity is the foundation of the future. If electricity is clean, the path to transform transport, buildings, and industries will open. But there is a twist here. There are many industries where the problem does not get solved just by giving them clean electricity. While making cement, carbon dioxide is released from the chemical reaction. In making steel, coal becomes not just a fuel but a part of the process. Plastic is made from fossil fuels, but its climate impact is hidden in its entire production chain. Meaning, emissions in the manufacturing sector do not come from energy use alone, but they also come from the chemistry of materials. First, let's talk about cement, because cement is the silent hero of the modern world. You go to any city, road, bridge, airport, dam, metro station, school, hospital, house, mall, concrete will be visible everywhere. Concrete is strong, does not catch fire, does not rot quickly, does not rust, and on a large scale, turns out to be relatively cheap. The main ingredient of concrete is cement, and without cement, imagining modern construction is difficult. But this very cement is also a difficult part of the climate problem. To make cement, limestone, meaning calcium carbonate, is heated at a very high temperature. In this process, calcium separates and carbon dioxide is released. The problem here is that carbon dioxide is released not just from burning fuel, but from the chemical reaction of the raw material as well. Meaning, even if a cement plant is run on clean electricity, carbon dioxide can still be released from limestone. This exact thing makes cement tricky for the climate. According to the IEA, the direct carbon dioxide intensity of cement production has not decreased very rapidly over the past few years, whereas to get on the net zero track, a fairly fast improvement is needed in this sector. Now think, construction cannot stop in the world. Poor countries need housing, they need roads, they need schools, they need hospitals, and they need infrastructure. If we say stop using cement, then this will not be a practical solution. The real solution is making low-carbon cement, using cement efficiently, and where possible, using alternative materials. This is the complexity of the climate solution. We do not have to stop development, we have to make it cleaner. Bill Gates explains through the example of cement that in the green transition, willpower alone is not enough. Technology is needed, scale is needed, and the cost will have to be reduced. Some startups are trying to lock carbon dioxide into concrete. Some research is working on seawater, alternative binders, and new chemical processes. Carbon capture is an option too, but in sectors like cement, it can be expensive. If low-carbon cement is way too costly, builders will not adopt it. Therefore, reducing the green premium here is necessary. Now look at the story of steel. Steel is like the bones of the modern economy. Steel in buildings, steel in bridges, steel in cars, steel in railways, steel in machines, steel in ships, and steel even in renewable energy infrastructure. Steel is needed in wind turbines, transmission towers, and solar farms too. Meaning, steel is needed even to make climate solutions. But in traditional steel production, coal, especially coking coal, plays a very important role. In the common process of making steel, coke is used to remove oxygen from iron ore. At a high temperature, coke gives carbon, iron ore releases oxygen, and after the reaction, iron is obtained. But carbon dioxide is also formed in this very process. This is the reason why decarbonizing the steel sector is difficult. In the IEA's breakthrough agenda, the need to make near-zero emission steel the preferred choice in the global market has been stated, so that production and efficient use can increase in every region by 2030. The difficulty of steel is that replacing it is just not easy. Wood, aluminum or composites can be alternatives in some cases, but a match for steel's strength, durability and cost is not found everywhere. Therefore, the solution is not leaving steel but making steel cleaner. For this, several paths are discussed: increasing scrap recycling, the use of electric arc furnaces, hydrogen-based steel making, new technologies like molten oxide electrolysis, and the use of clean electricity on a large scale. But every solution has its own cost, infrastructure and technology challenge. For countries like India, the story of steel is even bigger. In India, steel demand is bound to rise for infrastructure growth, housing, railways, manufacturing, and urbanization. According to a 2026 report by Reuters, India is planning on both reducing the emissions intensity of the steel sector and increasing capacity because the country needs development as well as to reduce emissions. This shows that developing economies face a double challenge. They have to increase production and make it cleaner too. Now let's come to plastic. As soon as we hear the name of plastic, a picture of pollution comes to our mind: bottles floating in the sea, packets lying in the garbage, waste that has reached the stomachs of animals, and the concern of microplastics. Plastic's reputation is already bad, and to a great extent it is bad for the right reasons. But in climate discussions, the story of plastic is a little different. Plastic is made from fossil fuels, but a large part of the carbon used in it remains locked in the product until it is burned or degrades. Still, the supply chain of plastic production generates emissions. According to Our World in Data, plastics account for a few % of global greenhouse gas emissions, and a large part of plastic emissions comes from the production stage, meaning from the process of turning fossil fuels into plastic. What this means is that the climate problem of plastic is not just waste, but is connected to manufacturing energy and feedstock too. The second paradox of plastic is that it is useful too in many sectors. Medical equipment, food packaging, electronics, vehicles, insulation, pipes, clean water systems, plastic is present in some form or another everywhere. Some plastic products reduce food waste, some products make vehicles lighter and increase fuel efficiency, and some are life-saving in medical uses. Therefore, the discussion on plastic is not simple either. Not every plastic is bad, but single-use and unmanaged plastic waste is a big problem. From a climate perspective, to make plastic clean, heat and process energy will have to be cleaned up. If plastic plants use clean electricity, green hydrogen or carbon capture-based systems, then emissions can decrease. A futuristic idea is this too, that instead of fossil carbon, plastic be made from captured carbon dioxide or biomass-based carbon. But these technologies are not cheap and common on a large scale yet. Therefore, for now, the most practical work is reducing unnecessary plastic, making recycling better, and strengthening waste management. Now, a common question arises here. If cement, steel, and plastic are so necessary, does a climate solution mean leaving modern life? No. Bill Gates' message is this too, that zero emissions does not mean stopping development. It means designing development in a new way. We need those very bridges, but from low-carbon materials. We need those very homes, but in an energy-efficient and resource-efficient way. We need those very machines, but from cleaner steel and cleaner manufacturing. We need packaging, but not wasteful and unnecessary plastic. The biggest challenge of the manufacturing sector is that it requires high-temperature heat. Many industrial processes need heat even above 1000 degrees Celsius. Today, this heat often comes from burning fossil fuels. Generating such high heat from electricity is possible, but in many places it is expensive and technically challenging. Hydrogen can be an option, but green hydrogen itself will be made from clean electricity, meaning the matter then returns back to electricity. This is the reason why Part 2 and Part 3 are connected. Clean electricity will be needed for clean manufacturing. But a supply-side solution alone is not enough. The demand side is necessary too. We have to ask, does every building need as much cement as we are using today? Can the design be smarter? Can recycled steel be used more? Can products be made repairable and long-lasting? Can packaging be reduced? Can construction waste be reused? These look like small questions, but on a large scale their impact can be big. Using less material is an underrated way of climate action. If an engineer does optimization in design, an architect reduces unnecessary concrete, a builder uses recycled material, a consumer buys durable products, and the government makes green building standards, then emissions can decrease. This does not look as glamorous as a technology breakthrough, but it is practical. Every ton of cement or steel that we avoid can save emissions. Recycling is important too, especially for steel and plastic. Steel can be recycled again and again, and scrap-based steel making can reduce emissions, especially when electricity is clean. Plastic recycling is more complex, because there are different types of plastic, contamination occurs, and the economics are not always favorable. Still, better collection, sorting, and recycling systems can reduce both plastic waste and emissions. Materials like wood and engineered timber can also become alternatives in some construction. Laminated wood or mass timber can be a partial replacement for concrete and steel in many buildings. But careful planning is needed here too. If forests are not sustainably managed, the wood solution can become an environmental problem too. Therefore, no material becomes automatically perfect in a climate solution. Every solution will have to be understood according to its life cycle. Now look at the human side of this entire story. When a poor family wants to build a permanent house, it is made from cement and steel only. When a country builds a dam to be saved from floods, concrete is needed. When a village demands a road, materials are needed. When a hospital is built, steel, cement, plastic, all are used. Therefore, if a climate policy says only that use fewer materials than for poor and developing regions, this can be unfair. The correct path is that rich countries take the lead in innovation, make clean technologies cheap, and affordable options become available to developing countries. A large part of Bill Gates' thinking is based on innovation. He believes that we need breakthroughs that make clean cement, clean steel, and clean industrial heat affordable. But breakthroughs do not come into the market on their own. Research funding, government procurement, carbon standards, green public projects, and private investment, all of these are needed. If governments give a commitment to buy low-carbon cement and steel, companies get the confidence to scale production. The role of carbon capture can be important in this sector too. There are some emissions that are difficult to avoid, like cement process emissions. Carbon capture can be useful there, but it will have to be made cheap, and the storage will have to be made safe. Storing captured carbon dioxide underground, building pipeline infrastructure, and doing monitoring is not an easy job. Still, in hard-to-abate sectors, this technology can become a part of the climate toolkit. There is another point worth remembering here. In the name of a climate solution, we should not look only at the final image of the product. An electric car looks clean on the outside, but where did its battery, steel, aluminum, and plastic come from? A solar panel gives clean electricity, but glass, silicon, metals, and industrial energy are used to make it. A wind turbine gives clean power, but steel and concrete are used in it. This does not mean that clean technologies are useless. It means that the entire supply chain will have to be cleaned up. This is the real depth of zero emissions. Zero means that we search for emissions in every hidden corner. Power plant, factory, mine, ship, truck, cement kiln, steel furnace, plastic plant, everywhere. To avoid a climate disaster, we have to understand not just the visible smoke, but invisible process emissions too. In the first part, we saw that greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere and make the climate unstable. In the second part, we understood that if electricity is clean, many sectors will change. And in this third part, we come to know that the basic things that make the world, cement, steel, and plastic themselves, are big fields of the climate battle. If these materials do not become clean, the green economy of the future will not be completely green either. But hope has not ended. Experiments are going on with low-carbon cement. Projects are being announced for green steel. Research is happening on plastic recycling and alternative feedstocks. Governments are working on definitions and standards for near-zero emission materials. In 2024, the IEA stated the need to move forward the global discussion regarding definitions of near-zero and low-emission steel and cement, so that a clear signal goes to the markets as to what will be called clean materials. This change will not be easy, but it is necessary. Because the coming world will also need buildings, will need bridges, will need hospitals, will need factories, and will need technology. The question is not that we stop making things. The question is whether we can make things in such a way that the planet does not break. And now the story reaches the next turn. After electricity and manufacturing, another big part of climate emissions comes, which is connected to our plate. What we eat, how we grow it, how we rear animals, how fertilizer is made, and how much food waste happens. All of these play a deep role in the story of the climate disaster. The curiosity for the next part will start right from here. Because if the emissions of cement and steel are hidden, the emissions of the food system are even more surprising. Is our plate connected to climate change too? And while saving farming, will we have to save the climate too?
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.